Hey, welcome back to the Conversion Clinic. Today we're going to go through a Google Ads account for an e-commerce store. They sell like mixers and juices and all that kind of stuff. So I just want to pick into the account, see if I can find any quick wins, see if you learn anything. I'll try to keep it short because there's so much to go through in an ads account. So let's do it. Okay, so with any ads account, normally there's a few things that you want to do. You want to check if anything's wrong. You want to check if everything's tracking correctly, if what you see here, the conversions, are actually true or false, all that kind of stuff. So I'm on the last 30 days. That's good. That's what I normally check. If I'm really suspicious, I might want to check the previous 30 days before that to see how the performance is. So they've spent an extra $1,000. They've got 9 less conversions this month compared to last. They're spending a little bit more per conversion. Okay, nothing like really out of the blue, but the fact that they've spent an extra $1,000 and getting less performance, that seems like it's either market conditions, like it's becoming more competitive in the market, or they're doing something wrong, or whatever it is. It could be so many things. So what I want to do for an ad account is look at the conversions straight away to see if this is true. So I just want to go into the conversions metric. We've got 30 days selected here. Okay, purchase tracking, it's a primary. We've got 57 conversions recorded and 23,000 there. What's this one? This is in Google Analytics 4. It's set as a secondary. So they might be measuring this just to see, maybe they made a recent transition between their website's conversions connected in some way using Tag Manager or whatever. And then they've got another one here. The only reason you set this as secondary is if you want to keep an eye on things just as you're going through transition, or there's another reason why you're using this as a goal. But from what I'm seeing, this looks like it would have been an old conversion metric and this is the new one. And so they should just delete this one. Can we have a look at any extra data? Last conversion was today, so they're tracking somewhere through analytics. Let's have a look at these two. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to go through all the conversions to get rid of as many as possible so that there's no confusion in the account. That's really in a nutshell what you want to do. You don't want to confuse the algorithm with all these kind of conversions, and by setting them all as primary, you're confusing the algorithms, right? In a nutshell. So you want to make sure that none of your campaigns are using all of the kind of conversions that don't matter. Like an add to cart, you and I would agree that that is not a revenue producing activity. Like that in and of itself, right? You could argue, yes, it is, but in the fact that it's not a transaction, that's what I'm getting at. This is an e-commerce store that we're looking at. So the main thing we want is conversions through revenue. Okay, so with this said, I would probably agree to set this as a secondary, and then, which it looks like they're doing, add to cart tracking. Okay, I don't know why they've got multiples of the same thing, and I don't know why this add to cart has somehow got a conversion value attached to it, and why is that a different number from these two? Yeah, something's so wrong here. Like, what the hell's going on? Anyway, without knowing enough, and I'd have to go into here, I would remove this first one because this looks like it wasn't active since 235 days ago. So delete that, see what the hell's going on with this one. We would delete these two because these haven't been active for a while. And even like, let's test that. What about the last 60 days? Has it been active at all? That's what I'm trying to get at. Has it been active ever? No, it hasn't. So not in the last 2 months, it hasn't triggered at all. So you delete those, you'd make sure that this is actually correct. So the check that I would do is go into the back end of the Shopify store or WooCommerce to see what the actual value is in the reporting, see if this is even true, right? That's a big thing as well. All the hundreds of accounts I've looked at, there's only like 20% of good guys that actually set it up properly. Okay, so that's one big thing to take a look at. So let's go through the rest of it. We've gone through that. Begin checkout. Right, so it's strategic that they're tracking that, but shouldn't be set as a primary. It should be set as a secondary. And they've got doubles, so they need to remove the doubles. And this isn't even active. It's not even working, so they need to fix that. Oh, fucking hell. Really? So they've got Android installs for an e-commerce store. I almost always see this. It's like either automatically applied and they haven't come through and deleted it. They need to delete this ASAP. Unless people are paying for the app, why the hell are they tracking this? So yeah, they need to delete that. Page view, search. They don't need this stuff here as well. When was it last active? Let's have a look. Move me out of the way. These weren't active for the last 217 days, so they should remove all this. Cut all the fluff, get rid of the shit so it's not confusing later down the track. Likewise for these here. Okay. So that's a big thing as well, is that just because the reports on the front end show you one thing, doesn't mean these are even true to the slightest. You have to make sure that you check the conversions, see if they're even tracking. And it might say 55 conversions, right? What if 20 of them were app installs? That's not a conversion to you. Who gives a fuck about that? So that's what I mean. Like, go through your conversions, really analyze them to see, are they revenue producing conversions, or are they just fluffy metrics that don't actually produce revenue? So that's one thing to look at. Next thing is the naming conventions. Me, like I go through so many accounts and I see so many different naming conventions and people are trying to be fancy all the time with how they name shit. So the main goal of any account that you have is to think, what if I had to have 50 other people in the future in the next 20 years take over this ad account? I don't want to train them on all my naming conventions, so I need to make it as simple as possible for anyone to understand. That's what your goal should always be. You shouldn't be creating these like custom naming conventions where it's like you have to have like a legend sheet just to understand what the fuck's going on here. So make sure that you actually go through this and make them all simple, because who gives a shit if you're trying to look technical? No one cares. Like, just make it simple for anyone to come in here. Okay, let's go through here. What's going on? So in the last 30 days, we haven't had any conversions there. No conversions here. Not much performance. So these might have just started recently, I'm guessing. If they haven't started recently, if these been going on for 2 months or so, I would remove them. They don't seem to be bringing any value to the business. With this one here, costs 26 bucks a conversion. We made $329 from that. That's great. That's good ROI, depending on the fulfillment costs, but that seems to be good. I would keep that on for now. How much are they allocating to this? So I wonder how long they've had this going. $100 a day. So $100 a day. In that time, they've only spent 26 bucks. Something's gone wrong there. They are not spending even close to the amount of their budget that they've allocated. How long have they been running this thing for? What, like 60? Let's do 60 days. What's going on? Have they been running it for 60 days? They have been running it for 60 days. Okay, interesting. Not sure what's going on with that, but they'd have to look at the spend at the moment, have a look at the settings to see what the goal was. We saw it back in the campaign level though. Get rid of this. Never, like, honestly, if you're ever running a search ad, ever, do not add these to the actual parameters, because you'll be spending a lot more money than you need to. Like, Google justify it to say, hey, we'll spend over your leftover money on our Google search partners and Google display network. And every single time I've done this in the past and I don't do it any longer, it wastes your money. Don't do it, right? So just toggle these off. Let's go through the rest. So there's CPC enhanced bidding. I would probably do it as a conversion based automation, because the conversions are getting much better now with the algorithm. I would probably just simplify it. Are they using, so let's have a look at the keywords. Okay, so they're running, look at the ad group. So optimum juices. They're running brand name juices. They're not running like juicer near me or a juicer, you know, affordable juicer or whatever. They're not running those keywords by the looks of it. Let's have a look. So let's go on this one. Yeah, they're running brand names. So that is literally the only reason that they've got a high CTR. It's because, and the CTR is the click-through rate. So what makes it relatable to the audience on the other side? They click on it if they see their search pop up. Yeah, that's the only reason. So this isn't impressive to me at all. What would impress me is if they can get into an open market of bidding on juicer related keywords for people that are ready to buy a juicer but don't know what brand they want. That would impress me if they can get really high CTRs. That's impossible to get a CTR like that though, if they're doing that. Yeah. Okay, so what are they running? How many ads? One, good job. Like, I come across so many ad accounts and they run like 5 ads for one ad group. Ridiculous, especially if they're all responsive ads. So let's take a look at this. Now, it's hard for me to judge because they haven't really bid outside of market for different keywords. Generic. Okay, I want to see this one. What are they bidding on here? Bar blender, smoothie maker. Okay, I can tear this fucking thing apart. Let's have a look, right? Generic keywords, EM, I don't know what EM means. Yeah, exact match. Okay, and this is phrase match, right? So exact match, in theory, would have a higher CTR. Okay, that's not impressive. Let's look at the last 60 days. Okay, 14. That's a very healthy one. Smoothie Blender New Zealand. That's a healthy CTR. I like that. That's good. But it's exact match. So go figure. Okay. So 33% for this one. Interesting. So why are they cannibalizing both ad groups? So what's happening here, right? And I'll explain this. They're bidding on Smoothie Blender New Zealand exact in 2 different ad groups. So basically what's happening is they're competing against each other when the auctions open up for that keyword. So that's silly. Like, why the hell are they doing that? Now, there's not a lot of data here to go through and make like really critical analyses, other than the fact that I know that they haven't set up their keywords properly because they're cannibalizing each other. They shouldn't be doing this. That's so silly. I would combine these into one thematic ad group, just bunch, like any bar blender keywords, bunch it up with other bar blender keywords. Don't mix it with the smoothie blender keywords. What are you doing? Like, come on. Your quality score is probably going to be shit. Okay. Let's have a look at negatives. Account negatives. Okay, so they're blending it in with other kind of negatives here. Okay, I'm going to open it up quickly. They got 700 account negatives. And they've applied it to all their campaigns. What the fuck? So they haven't set up their negatives properly either. So the way that negatives work is normally you want to set up a negative keyword list per kind of theme. So for example, if you've got keywords around smoothie, like let's say you got keywords, or let's have a look, smoothie blender, right? Let's say it's smoothie blender and you didn't want to mention any competitors, then maybe you have a negative keywords for competitors. And maybe, let's say for example, you didn't want to bid on the word affordable, you know, when you talk about specifically to smoothie blenders, but you had another product somewhere else that you did want to bid on affordable. So therefore you've got to separate your negative keywords into different lists so that you're more strategic about it and not wasting money. These are wasting money. And they're not getting the best ROI in terms of from a quality score point of view, which we'll probably go through in another video, but this is, and I could probably link it in the show notes, but yeah, dude. Okay, let's move on to the ads. Okay, let's have a look. Let's see if we can find and teach you any quick wins for your actual headlines and things like that. Okay, this is a problem. I don't know where I've read this, but what I've found is that it's better to just have one of these filled out and leave the other one blank like that. And it's better if you can, in display path, use a dynamic variable. Like if you use this little left face icon, and then you just do keyword insertion, and then the default text might be like juicer, and then you do it as lowercase because no one sees sentence or title case inside of a URL. Never happens. So just do this, right? That has a higher CTR. You know, that makes up the variable. So if I typed in best blender for smoothie in Google and I saw that this said best blender for smoothie, it's probably going to subconsciously at least make me want to click on it more. So this is going to this particular page. Okay, we might check that out in a sec. But anyway, so let's have a look. So I scanned through all the headlines and I know straight away that they're not using dynamic keyword insertion. So that's a quick win they could add immediately. So they could just say here, keyword insertion, number one, juicer, blender, whatever, and then just do title case. So that way, see how all these went green? You're automatically inserting the keywords as you're going, right? So you're increasing that quality score. Don't give a shit about this excellence rating. Don't like focus on that. It could be poor, yet your conversion rate could be super high and your CTR could be super high. So don't worry about that right now. Another thing too, which they could be taking advantage of is, don't worry about the brand name, but they could add location insertion. So, oops, I went ahead of myself. So you didn't see that. So location insertion. So you could literally say like, let's just do the city, right? And let's say just Australia. Let's say it's getting delivered to Australia. But let's say you said free delivery to, and then imagine if it just said their city or their town based on their IP address, the person searching, and they're like, holy shit, like they deliver it to me, you know, and that increases the click-through rate, which is what you want. So you would have to probably pin that though. And this is another thing, they're not pinning anything. So what happens is the amount of types of different ads that is going to show up would be in the hundreds of permutations, and it would take forever for you to realize like what is a winning combination. So it's going to take a lot longer and you'd have to have a big budget. So it's better for you to dictate to Google what the positions are based on what you think is going to be a good position. This is good in position 1, this is good in position 2. So it might say like best juicer, number one juicer, blah blah blah, whatever the keyword it's going to inject into the ad itself. That's what this is for. And then it's going to say free delivery to blah blah blah, right? Maybe I'm in a rush and maybe that's what I'd love to see, and so that increases the conversion rate. The rest of it, high quality and easy of use, that's okay. 30-day money back guarantee, that's okay. That should be probably a 2 or 3 position. Okay, no one, make healthier smoothies. Good. Okay, so you need more intangible benefits in here, like be a healthier, happier you, be blah blah blah. Number one blender by product review. So that could be 2, right? You could add that as a 2 position and then have a look at that. Yeah, so that looks really nice. Number one blender by blah blah blah. You know, that looks good in an ad. So basically the way that I audit the ads and I go through it is to make sure would I click on this thing. So I heavily like work on the pinning. I go through the headlines to make sure that there's a mixture of like numbers, there's a mixture of psychology and power words, there's the keyword there so that the person sees what they're typing in, and you just go through all the variations, and if you see anything that looks really weird, like a weird combination, fix it. That's it. See how it says poor? Who cares? Don't worry about that poor rating, okay? But anyway, geez, I'm going overtime in this video. So what I'm going to do, there's so much to go. I'm going to leave this ad. hope that was informative. I hope you got a few quick wins out of this. Look, I could keep going through this for probably another hour or two just to go through some insights, probably even longer than that. But anyway, hope that was informative. I'll see you in the next episode of the Conversion Clinic. And for now, leave a comment if you've got any questions below. I'll help answer them and we'll go from there. Thanks.